Hello, welcome to Cloud Channel. In this module, we will learn how to use Azure Data Factory with Snowflake. And I will show you how to create a storage account and a data factory in Azure, and how to create a warehouse and table in Snowflake. And I'll show you how to upload a file in Azure blob storage, and how we can map that data into Snowflake table. So how we can load the data into Snowflake. So we will do this activity using Azure Data Factory. So this module completely about how we can use Azure Data Factory with Snowflake. I'm in the Azure portal, so I will go to storage account. I'll just type here storage account, click on storage accounts. Now I need to create a new storage account, and I will create a resource group. I will say my resource group name is RG01, and storage account name I will say Azure Snowflake account 01. This is my storage account name, and I will keep region East US, and performance standard. And redundancy, I will keep it locally redundant storage, and I will go to advanced tab, and I will keep everything. I will just enable public access since this is just a demo, and I will go to networking, and I will allow connectivity method public endpoint. And next, go to data production. I will disable the soft delete for blobs, and go to tags and review create. Everything looks good, so it takes few seconds to validate. Everything looks good. I will create the storage account. Now deployment in progress. While this deployment in progress, I will go to search and type data factory. Click on data factory. I will create a new data factory, and I will keep this in the same resource group, and region I will keep it within the US, East US, and the name I will just say Azure Snowflake ADF 01, and version 2. I will go to Git configuration, and we will configure Git later. And networking, everything looks good. Public endpoint, and go to review and create. Everything looks good. Let's create this data factory. Now we have storage account and data factory available in Azure. Now both data factory and storage accounts created. I will go to resource groups, and go to resource group, and it's not here at data factory, but I will go to storage account, and I will go to containers. I will create a container. I will say container 01, and enable public access, and create this container. Now I will go to container and upload the file that I want to load into Snowflake. So here I see that add travel. Select add travel, and let's uncheck this option, overwrite if file already exists, but we don't have any file exist. We just created this container. Let me upload this file. So the file is uploaded. Now I'll go to file and see if I can edit. So this is the data we have in this file. So the first row is all attributes: month, year 1958, 1959, 1960, and the month, and number of passengers travel during this year and this month. So we will load this data into Snowflake. It's just like how we are using. We don't load it actually, but I will show you how to map and connect to Snowflake. And next modules, I will load like some JSON format, and I will load this format data from Azure into Snowflake. This is just how we can use Azure Data Factory with Snowflake. So I will close this, and now I will go to Snowflake. So, and we need to have a warehouse to run any activity in Snowflake to run DDL or DDL. We don't need warehouse to run any DML activity. So I will create a warehouse, and I will say my warehouse name as warehouse 01, and I will choose the size, the smallest one, more X small, and 1 credit hour, and auto suspend 5 minutes, and auto resume. And this is test warehouse, I will say test warehouse 01, and I will create this warehouse. So now my warehouse is ready. I will go to databases, and I will create a database. I will say database name as air underscore travel. This is my database, and I'll say this air travel database, air travel database, and create this database. Now I have database ready, so I will go to database, and under the tables option, I will click on create, and now I need to create a table. I will say air underscore travel, and schema I will choose public, and this is a travel table. Now I need to add the column. I will click on add, and I will say this is month, and the string I will keep it not now, this field. And next one, year 1958, and this one is integer, and I will disable this. So sometimes we see passengers 0, so that's why I don't want this field as not null. So this attribute can accept the null values. I will add 2 more attributes, year 1959, and I will add 1 more, 1960. So now we have table ready in Snowflake. Let's just look at the SQL. So create table, a travel, and it is a database and schema and the table name. And these are the attributes, and the comment we said, this is a travel table. Let's close this and finish this table. Now we have table ready in Snowflake. So now I will go back to Azure Data Factory, and I will go to resource group, and I will refresh here. Now we have Data Factory available. I will click on Data Factory and click on author and monitor. Now we are inside the Data Factory. So now I will select copy data activity. Let's select copy data activity, and I will say the copy name, the pipeline name, I will say copy Azure blob to Snowflake. Copying data from Azure blob to Snowflake. So the task headings or task schedule run once now, and go to next and create a new connection. So before we select the source blob storage, so we need to do one more step. So I will go back to portal, and I will go back to storage account. Let's go to storage account and go to container and click on container and select the file that we want to load into Snowflake, and go to generate SAS and generate SAS token and URL. Now we have SAS token and URL. So now I will go back to Data Factory, and here I will select blob This is where our file exists and we want to copy to Snowflake. Continue. And I will just say this one is Azure Blob Storage. And just description, I will say Azure Blob Storage account. And everything looks good. And from we need to select the Azure subscription and select storage account name. It populates automatically. Now everything looks good here, and we need to select the authentication method SaaS URL. So now we need to enter the SaaS URL and SaaS token. So we just generated that SaaS URL and SaaS token. So here, if we come here, right? So so I will just copy this and I will open a notepad. So I will copy it here and let me maximize this one. So go. Oh, this is a SaaS token. So now I will copy this one also. The SaaS URL. The above one is SaaS token and the below one is SaaS URL. But if you see that the SaaS URL has SaaS URL and also the token. So I will just take the URL and go here, go to Data Factory and enter the URL. Now I need to enter the token. So let me just take the token and enter here. Now test connection. So the connection is successful. So we successfully created this linked services blob storage. Now create this linked services. Everything looks good. So we successfully created the source connection. Now let's click on next. Now here we need to choose input file or folder. I will select, go to browse. Okay, so let's just, okay, it's not ready yet. So but I will go right. So let me go to and select this and click on next. And okay, so that's fine. So we need to choose a folder. Yeah, it takes few minutes. Let me close that one. Okay. For now, what I will do, I will just go here and take out this SaaS URL and I will just say account key. And then later we will generate a new SaaS and then, so for now, I will just select the storage account name and test connection. And this is successful. Now apply it. So now we created this source connection. Let's go to next. Now we should be able to see the container. Now we should be able to select the file and click on next. So this is the data that we have, and first row as header. Now select next. Now we need to select the destination. I will create a new connection. Go to Snowflake and select Snowflake. Continue, and this is the Snowflake linked services. I'll just say Snowflake data warehouse. And we need to enter the Snowflake account name here. The account name and is -us.to Azure. So I will go to Snowflake and I will just select to here Azure until Azure and then come here and enter the account name, and I need to enter the username and the password that I used to connect to Snowflake. And the database name we just created database 01. So let me make sure our database name is right. Okay, air travel, the database we created air travel. Let's go back here, enter air underscore travel. And the warehouse is warehouse 01. So now this is optional role. So now let's check the connection, Snowflake. Yes, the connection is successful. So let's create the destination. So far we established both source and target. And let's go to next. And here now we need to choose the destination, which table we want to load this data from Azure Blob to Snowflake. So I will select the destination. So I will look for our table, public underscore travel. So this is where we want to load the data. So here we can choose this option if we want to skip column mapping. For now, I will do this column mapping. Let's go to next. So now it's initializing. So now we can see the column mappings once it is loaded. So now we can see the month is string and year string and year number. And let me just say here integer, and then here is integer. Okay, so that's fine. I will say integer 36 and I will say integer 16 and everything looks good, and click on next. So now I will select enable staging and select the linked service Azure blob, and let's click on next. So here we see that the error stage copying data to Snowflake is only supported when Azure Blob Storage Linked Service authentication is set as SaaS URI authentication. So now I will go back to source and I will edit here and I will change this to SaaS URI, and then let's see, I think we already generated the key. So now let me enter this SaaS URL. So I entered SaaS URL. Now I need to enter the token. So I entered the token now. Test connection. Successful. Apply. And now I will go here, settings, and then select next. So now we can see that we are running pipeline to copy data from Azure Blob Storage to Snowflake. And everything looks good here. The task name and task description and the connection, we are bringing data from Azure Blob Storage, and first row is true. The file name is airtravel.csv and the container name, and the destination is Snowflake, and that we are loading data into air travel table, and we selected, just click on next, and then validating and copy runtime and then create data sets, and then everything looks good. And running pipelines. So far we discussed we discussed in this session how to use Azure Data Factory with Snowflake. So we created a storage account container, we uploaded data into the container, and we created data factory and we selected copy tool. And also we created warehouse in Snowflake, we created database and we created table. And then using copy data tool, we created linked services, both source Azure Blob and the target Snowflake. And then we did mapping and we successfully created the pipeline and deployment is complete. So if you have any questions on this entire activity, please post in the comments. So this module is just about like how we can use Azure Data Factory with Snowflake. So here I will finish this one. In the next modules, I will go over like how to copy data from Azure Blob or Azure SQL database, and how we can copy data from Azure into Snowflake. And also I will discuss about some of the other uh, activities, how we can do like how we can use AWS Glue ETL with Snowflake. Yeah, please post if you have any questions. Please post them in the comments. If you like this video, please subscribe and share the channel. Thank you.